trade, ContractorExam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
Hey, Berkey Guy here. Are you still drinking unfiltered tap water? Does your water contain chlorine or fluoride? Will you have drinkable water in an emergency? The Berkey Guy is here to help you remove these and other potential contaminants from your water, thus helping you drink clean, purified water. We offer Berkey water purification systems at the lowest available prices online. Don't go another moment without a Berkey system. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands drink clean, purified water. Join them by visiting goberkey.com or call me, the Berkey Guy, at 877-886-3653. That's 877-886-3653.
November 11th used to be called Armistice Day. Armistice Day was about celebrating the end of war, not the nationalistic celebration of perpetual death that day has become. Here at Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, we celebrate Armistice Day by putting our money where our heart is. Shop online at rrbi.co November 11th, and Roberts & Roberts will give all the profit of every sale to antiwar.com. Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Roberts & Roberts has been your trusted source for precious metals for nearly 40 years, and we're anti-war and pro-free market. Banks drive war. Why use their money? By investing in silver, gold, and Bitcoin, you are exiting the corrupt system that enables war. Roberts & Roberts, we don't feed the banks. Roberts & Roberts' website is rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co. And our toll-free number is 800-874-9760.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Coming up, Catalonia is moving towards secession. It's been in the works for a while, and they've taken a major step in the right direction. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Rich Paul.
And Mark.
And you can join us online at freetalklive.com. As we mentioned, brand new website. And if you are looking to save some money, then I would recommend going to saveitpurse.com. You can save 20% easily on any of your purchases at Amazon. You could save 30, 40, 45%. We know people, Mark, you've saved 45% on Amazon. One of our listeners mentioned the other day they saved 45%. I've saved 40%. If you're willing to be patient, then you can save even more than 20% over at saveitpurse.com. But 20% is the average. It's super easy to get that. Save at Purse, saveatpurse.com. Go there, get started. The only thing you need to know up front is you gotta have Bitcoin to get these amazing prices. And it works. I've done it more than 24 times at this point. SaveATPurse.com. In fact, I canceled my Amazon Prime today.
Really?
Yeah, because everything I bought Amazon Prime in the very beginning of this year because I was impressed with Amazon Prime because a couple friends of mine had it. Just super fast shipping and all that.
I have it.
Some benefits or whatever. But ever since then, I've been using SaveAtPurse.com. So I have no reason to use Amazon Prime at all. So
I got it.
Cancel that. Anyway, let's go to your calls and thoughts. Mike, listening in West Tennessee, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Rich, Paul, and Mark.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hi there.
The fellow that was on talking about anarchy, I talked to you fellows about a month and a half ago, and at that time I mentioned that, of course, anarchy, the truest definition is self-governance. And, of course, if people like yourself and I and people like us have the ability to live amongst ourselves and play nice. We can leave each other alone when we want to. We can work together when we want to. We don't need a father. We don't need someone governing us. So the epitome of what the founders, what they perceived would be the utopian society, was literally an anarchist society where people just lived among themselves. There was virtually no government over the people. That was just to communicate with other nations strictly for the purpose of commerce. And it had nothing to do with what they're claiming as commerce today, which is everything. And I've learned something recently. Of course, you know, I've mentioned this. The United States government is a corporation. It's on Ben and Bradstreet. Every state and every city is a corporation. Once you learn this trick that you don't engage them in commerce, they lose jurisdiction. And, of course, this is proven out by all these foreigners coming into this country committing crimes. Not that we need to commit crimes.
So I've heard this particular theory a number of times. There have been individuals who've called Free Talk Live and have made similar claims that all you have to do is somehow opt out and then they leave you alone. Is that what you're saying?
Well, if you don't have a birth certificate, if you don't have a Social Security number, if you don't have anything that ties you to them, if you give them notice, then they lose jurisdiction. That's why all these people that are committing these crimes don't go to jail and prison.
Oh, they go to jail and prison.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know
nonsense.
what you're talking about.
I spent 8.5 years in prison, and I can tell you there were plenty of illegal immigrants there.
Yeah, this is a ridiculous claim. The idea that the people who are moving to the United States, who are immigrating here, who, by the way, I consider to be heroes if they don't beg permission from bureaucrats, and I certainly would not denigrate them by calling them illegal.
Anybody who commits crimes isn't necessarily a hero, but I will point out that
no, it's not a crime to come here as far as I'm concerned.
No, he's talking about people who come here and then commit crimes,
right.
People that he encountered in prison.
The American Conservative magazine did a study based on ethnicity and found that people of Hispanic descent in their age bracket commit no more crimes than the average American. Actually, fewer than the average American.
But the idea that someone's coming here immigrating and then is sending some sort of notice to the government and letting them know, I do not have your Social Security number, I do not have your paperwork, I am out of your system. That stuff doesn't work. I've tried it before, and it doesn't work.
Well,
and if you haven't tried it in your real life, Mike, you've got no evidence that it works.
Actually, I do, and I can prove it to you. I was locked up. I was railroaded into prison myself for 7 years. MikeParsons.org, you can read all about it under the narrative. But the point is, there's not a single Amish or Mennonite or tribal Native American in prison unless they had a birth certificate. If they do not have a birth certificate, they don't put them in prison.
Well, the Amish and the Mennonites are a different case, and one of the things that I would like to do with the church is make it an opt-out system where we can basically get a piece of land and live in our own way like the Amish do and basically be left alone on religious grounds. Here's what I would invite you to do. Come to Keene, New Hampshire. We've got a proud tradition of civil disobedience here. So come to Keene, New Hampshire, do a piece of activism that gets you arrested and show us how this works. We will come in, we'll film your trial so that you will have it recorded for posterity exactly what happened. That's probably the easiest way to demonstrate it.
Well, his excuse is that he's got a birth certificate, so they're going to run him. They're going to run him into jail, right?
Well, I'll tell you, as an engineer,
that's how they draw out the money through the Sescovy Trust. They're getting the money from the Sescovy Trust from your birth certificate. Without that,
it's a conspiracy theory. There's no evidence that you've provided whatsoever that this is true. Just making the claim that they don't have Amish in prison, so therefore that means that there's those people with no birth certificates can't be locked up is ridiculous.
Well, we have read stories where Amish have been taken to trial and certainly threatened with prison. So, I mean, I would assume that the first step to prison is trial. Can they take Amish to trial?
They can if they submit. They have to give them the permission. And
see, Mark, by going to court and crossing the bar, you're giving them jurisdiction. You believe that one, Mike?
No. You basically tell them that you do not consent and you do not allow somebody to represent you. If you're represented, they call it.
This is all courtroom conspiracy. You've wrapped up like 5 or 6 different courtroom conspiracy theories into one phone call, but you yourself have no actual experience with this, right?
Yes, I have. I have right now.
Where's your proof?
I had to reset my. Listen, sir. You want to call me? I'll give you the proof. Mike Parsons.
You're on the phone with me right now. You're saying the proof is on your website, MikeParsons.org?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Right now, I've had a trial reset 3 times because they can't get me to consent. They
Really?
do not have the ability. Yes, sir. 3 times, and they want me bad.
Well, how are you refusing to consent exactly when it comes to a trial?
Well, there's 2 things. Number one, I don't take an attorney, which is a trick twister, to represent me. If you cannot be represented,
I don't either. Okay, what's the next step?
Right now, I'm the live man. They're trying to represent me as a dead
what's the
man.
next step? You don't bring an attorney, then what?
I challenge them on the law. I say, provide me the law. They refuse to provide me the jurisdiction of the court and the law because it's admiralty, and they're not going to admit it.
Okay, and then what happens?
Well, they're stuck. Because until
you're standing there in the courtroom and you say, provide me with evidence of your jurisdiction, and they do what?
No, I don't ask for evidence. I ask, what jurisdiction are you under? What law? And the judge said, Google it. He said, Google it. I've got a nice audio recording. He told me to come back in a month. I've been coming back in a month for the last 8 months.
Now, why do you keep coming back if you don't consent to their jurisdiction?
Because they can have me come back because I'm out on bond, but they can't put me through a trial until I consent.
Well, I really want to hear your audio. So it's over. You're saying audio from the court is over at MikeParsons.org? Because I will check it out.
No. I don't have that on the website.
I see. You're one of those guys who has the evidence, but you're keeping it secret?
No.
I've got the document.
Why don't you hire a kid who will probably work for, a bag of pot and have him put your audio up on YouTube so you can actually call radio shows and point to the evidence that you have to prove your case?
Well, I'd have to refer to you to get the pot, I guess, because I don't
funny.
smoke. So.
Thanks for the call, Mike. And let us know if you ever get any proof. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
The reason this frustrates you so much, Ian, and it's obvious it does frustrate you, is because you essentially went to jail for attempting this crap. You said I don't consent, and a variety of other of these notions that have been trotted out, and I think he threatened you with 90 days in jail. I
was sentenced to 3 contempts of court, 30 days apiece, plus 4 days for the actual violation that I was in court for.
So 94 days essentially, and you had to basically go and beg for allocution, I think was the terminology, in order to get out, and you'd spent 4 days in jail. That's or something like that. So I mean, it's not like these theories have no consequences if they don't work. That's
why I always suggest that these guys come to New Hampshire and show us how it's done.
We'll do all the hard work. We'll come into the court, record it, we'll put it online. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You can't use the excuse of, well, I don't know how YouTube works.
And if you can make it work, I will do everything I can to publicize.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see someone do this crap and do it in a way that's duplicatable. Because if you do it once and they boot your case out, that's cool. Try it again. Let's keep trying it and make sure it works the second, third, fourth, and fifth times.
Yeah,
Hold that thought. It's Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
You can control your health care with Liberty Health Share.
Liberty Health Share is like-minded people coming together to share medical costs, which saves money.
You don't even have to pay for procedures that violate your conscience.
Because we all share the same values.
Join the movement of people who share in medical costs and change the way you pay for your health care forever.
Go to libertyhealthshare.org to find out more.
Liberty Health Share.
Together, we're changing healthcare for good. libertyhealthshare.org.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is even at $1,090 per ounce. Silver is down 15 cents at $14.68 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $384 US. This looks like a great time to buy on the dips. If you'd like more information about buying gold or silver, call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, November 9th, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.73 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,094 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $383. And HowWar.com reports over the weekend there was fighting again raging across southern Yemen, with 29 people reportedly killed in Taiz as fighting there between the Shiite Houthis and the pro-Saudi forces continued. 8 of those killed in Taiz were reportedly civilians, and no real territory in the area appears to have changed hands. The real change in the war was farther south in Dalia and Laj, where Houthi forces returned to areas they were previously pushed out of and have suddenly returned in force. At least 30 were killed in fighting in Dalia, though the offensive in Laj appears to have gone off with no real resistance. Pro-Saudi forces downplayed the sudden Houthi gains, the first in many weeks, and say they're confident that they have stalled the advance. Yet the shift in territory gives the Houthis control over an area not far from the pro-Saudi capital of Aden. Also significantly, the Houthi gains allowed them to recover some of the Bab al-Bandab coast, which may allow them to restrict the Saudi naval blockades movement between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Previous use of the area by Houthis to fire on the blocking ships was a big reason for the Saudis to push into the area in the first place.
For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports millions of people voted on Sunday in Myanmar's first openly contested national election in 25 years after decades of military rule, where Nobel Peace Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi's party is expected to win most of the parliamentary seats. There are about 30 million eligible voters in Myanmar's elections out of an overall population of nearly 54 million. Many lined up to cast votes before the polls opened at 6 a.m., and demand was so high that some polls were extended past the 4 p.m. deadline. There were more than 6,000 candidates representing 90 different parties for the 664-seat parliament. The Union Solidarity Development Party, backed by the military, has been in power since 2011. A quarter of parliamentary seats are reserved for unelected military representatives who are expected to side with the USDP. Suu Kyi is banned from Myanmar's presidency as the constitution prohibits anyone with foreign offspring from the post. In a press conference on Thursday, however, Suu Kyi said, "I'm going to be above the president. I have already made plans." At least 100,000 people were denied voting rights, including minority Rohingya Muslims, leading to questions over the fairness of the election. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spendabit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spendabit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports a Canadian Pacific freight train carrying crude oil through Wisconsin derailed on Sunday, knocking 12 cars off the track and spilling oil in the state's second derailment in 2 days. No one was injured in the incident in Watertown, about 50 miles west of Milwaukee. Earlier on Sunday, the BNSF Railway had said its crews had stanched the flow of ethanol from a freight train that derailed on Saturday about 140 miles away in Alma, Wisconsin, after thousands of gallons of the denatured alcohol leaked into the Mississippi River. In that incident, 25 cars derailed about 2 miles north of Alma, a rural community close to the Minnesota border. BNSF said on Sunday that crews in Wisconsin placed a containment boom along the shoreline of the river and started to pump the remaining product out of the cars. Work on repairing the tracks can begin once the derailed cars are put upright. The railroad said it expected the tracks to return to service Monday morning. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Officials at PepsiCo announced today the upcoming launch of Mountain Dew Cinnablast after the company's market research team unknowingly fell victim to a malicious focus group that convinced them cinnamon-flavored Mountain Dew was the next big thing.
The people in the focus group, they couldn't get enough of it. And then they said, the more cinnamon, the better. So we are going to put in more cinnamon. We are really excited for people to try this product.
According to PepsiCo's data, all gathered from a single group of ill-intentioned respondents, customers of all ages will love the new soft drink's murky brownish-green color and will soon be lining up to try the carbonated beverage jam-packed with ground cinnamon. Various members of the focus group told reporters they believed the company had made a great decision.
Cinnablast is the best. I mean, I can't wait to tell all of my friends to go buy this thing.
Yeah. The only way they can make it better is if they took a couple of raw eggs, mixed them up in the bottle. People would go nuts.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and you may join us on the radio waves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. We can talk about jury nullification. One jury nullification activist has been threatened with the favorite claim of these court goons of jury tampering for handing out information about a juror's rights. Want to get into that? I've got the audio from the encounter. But first, with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
Rich Paul.
And Mark.
Let's go to the phones. To the fun. Armed Truth is on the line in Southern California. You're on Free Talk Live listening to LRN.FM. Hello, Armed Truth.
Hey, how's it going?
What's on your mind tonight?
Yeah, I was just calling. I'm a libertarian. I've listened to you guys for a long time. I know you are a voluntarist. And thinking the other day about it, just the basis of voluntarism and how if we were to take down the government as it is now and everybody was to be voluntarist, wouldn't at some point it would grow just back into a government system? You would start with, obviously I'm for privatized roads, which I'm for, but as people would just deal with each other, and as it grew with how big the world is, wouldn't we just form almost another government system? As in, let's take roads, for example. You want to have all your neighbors who agree to pay for a new road, and they pave it. But then regarding larger roads that connect hundreds, and thousands of people, wouldn't you form basically committees of people that everybody, let's say, elects?
No,
please. The railroads were built by private corporations, and the railroads were much more complicated than building a road. Okay, a road is just a flat piece of asphalt. I will admit there's some technology in, making the water flow just right. But the engineering companies that build the roads will still exist. The only thing that will change is the way they're financed. And I would imagine that for financing, it would be done by private companies who would either sell you a thing that's similar to a license plate or a subscription to the roads in a particular area. For longer roads, you might have tolls. But there's really nothing
roads?
Complex about that.
There doesn't need to be a system. It could just be a road that has a sponsorship. Michelin Tire or Toyota could sponsor the entire road or whatever, and then have
that
signage.
could be another thing. Or the private road owner could sell advertising space to many different advertisers. They did that in Brazil.
So
they're the movie, not the country.
I totally agree with that, but what I was going to say is that, and then you have with, what the government does do in some sense is manage all these different apparatuses and programs. In a sense, they have like already wastewater treatment. With taxes is what they pay for garbage.
Actually, I don't pay taxes for wastewater treatment. That is actually a billed service here in Keene, New Hampshire. It is the government who provides that service, but it's not done under taxation. It's done as a separately billed individual service for water and sewer service.
Yeah,
but Mark, I think you had a point.
There's no particular reason for the government to handle wastewater, but here's what I would say. The way that I converted to the ideas of voluntarism, as you're talking about here, is that I kind of believed in do believe in a limited republic, right? Like, there's a government being as small as it can be in any given geographic area, and letting business handle the rest of it. However, what if somebody doesn't want to pay for one particular service in one particular place? Let's say, it's a municipality wants to run a school, and a person who lives in that municipality doesn't want that school.
Well,
can they opt out? I guess is the question. And if the answer is yes, then you're a voluntarist. If they can secede from the whole organization, they can take their property and secede. Then by that definition, you're a voluntarist. Now, what I would say regarding that is that we know how limited republics turn out. We have plenty of them to look at and see how they turn out today. The question is, we don't know how a voluntarist society is going to turn out because we haven't tried it. So the question isn't whether or not you think one will work. The question is whether or not you will allow someone to try it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I would be very happy to try it just by forming an agorist village on maybe a large piece of property in Grafton and say, okay, how well does this work with 150 people living on a piece of property in basically a village, and then let that grow. If other places like what they see out of our results, maybe they'll try the same thing. I'm also a believer in motley anarchism, which is there's always been this tension between anarcho-capitalists and anarcho-communists and anarcho-socialists and mutualists and all the various flavors of anarchy. And they all seem to be predicated on the idea that everybody's going to do anarchy the same way.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And I would argue that if you're all doing anarchy the same way, you're doing anarchy wrong or you're just sheep.
I don't want to do anarchy. I have no intention of doing anarchy. Thanks.
So what modern or what motley anarchism says is, okay, split up into the smallest possible jurisdictions, like maybe the county or town level, and just say in this area we're going to be anarcho-communist. In this area, we're going to be anarcho-capitalist. In this area, we're going to be Georgist or geo-libertarian.
And see how it works out.
Which is a kind of a benign seeming, from my point of view, minarchism. See how it works out. And if you don't like what your neighbors chose, move to the next jurisdiction because it's not that far away.
I think that's a fine idea, and it brings me back to the main thing that, what Armed Truth said in the very beginning of his call was that if everyone were a voluntarist, and you might as well forget about that because never in the history of mankind has everyone ever been anything besides a human being. I mean, there's no agreement that you're ever going to have with everyone.
We can't even get people to agree not to eat each other. I mean, for God's sakes, Dahmer was a cannibal. So, I mean, if you can't get people to agree not to eat each other, you certainly aren't going to get them to agree on a political philosophy.
Even if everybody is politically a voluntarist, there will always be the Dahmers, the psychopaths, the sociopaths,
the politicians.
We like to think that they will be weeded out evolutionarily by an armed population, but we don't know how much of that is truly genetic. So there will always be crazy people who need to be shot or treated. Hopefully treated, but if not treated,
And you're always going to have people who have disagreements on political philosophy. So even though we think voluntarism is a great idea, that people should interact on a consensual basis, there will always be those who think that people need to be told what to do. And to some extent, you could call those people psychopaths, but they're not not all of them are willing to pull the trigger themselves, right? They want to hire someone calling themselves the police to do their dirty work for them. But as long as the voluntarists are in a large enough quantity, then you can have your voluntarist society, and it will likely encourage the people who want to control others to leave that particular area, because it becomes uncomfortable for those people to be in a society where they're surrounded by people who just want to be left alone and who want to leave others alone. But Armed Truth, your best chance at having that happen was it's probably not going to be in Southern California where you are. It's likely going to be here in New Hampshire, where we've got over 1,500 people that have already moved as part of the Free State Project and over 17,500 who have pledged to make the move. Are you planning on sticking it out in California?
No, it's funny, actually. Well, my point went out the window. I'll call back another day, but actually my wife was just listening. We have a child. We've been thinking about maybe going out there. But I have to say I agree that I think what Rich Paul said is it would be very interesting, because I think we need something different, obviously, than what's going on right now politically in the United States. We need something new and fresh. It would be interesting to see like 150 people who are voluntarists on a plot of land and let them do a little test, and see how it works. It would be very interesting, because, I wasn't meeting everybody, obviously. No one will ever agree on anything, but I think it's a very promising political way of doing things that could really help change what's going on. But
thanks, Armed Truth. I appreciate your call and the thoughts tonight. And when you get a chance, go to freestateproject.org and get signed up over there, as the three of us have done. We've made the move. We're some of the early movers here in the studio tonight, and there are new people moving all the time. We just had 2 new movers to Keene, where we live, in the last week. 3. I was counting only in the last week.
Okay.
3
last
if you count
week.
the last 2 or 3
Yeah, I was going to say
weeks.
last month.
Yeah, last month for sure we've had at least 3. And many, many more out in other areas like Manchester and Concord and Nashua. I think there were 17 new movers at the most
almost
recent
1,900 movers at
new
this
movers
point.
party. Really?
1,900 in state, excuse me.
Okay, so around 1,700 movers then. That's pretty good. 855-450 free is our number. You can join us here. This is Free Talk Live.
You can control your health care with Liberty Health Share.
Liberty Health Share is like-minded people coming together to share medical costs, which saves money.
You don't even have to pay for procedures that violate your conscience.
Because we all share the same values.
Join the movement of people who share in medical costs and change the way you pay for your health care forever.
Go to libertyhealthshare.org to find out more.
Liberty Health Share.
Together, we're changing healthcare for good. libertyhealthshare.org.
Are your kids spending too much time online? Are they gaming instead of doing homework? Are they on Facebook instead of sleeping? Turn their internet access on or off when you want for free at webcurfew.com. 100% web-based interface means nothing to download, install, or configure. Web Curfew is free and controls any device using your home network without slowing down your internet. Block all adult web content with the click of a button. Don't let the internet raise your kids. Take back control of how and when your home internet is used for free. Visit webcurfew.com.
My name is Bill Bonner, and I have an important message. Right now, the highest levels of government are struggling against an inevitable crisis, but they're about to lose control. When this happens, it will rip our country apart in ways you never imagined, from where we shop to the family you want to protect. Look, I've made predictions like this before. A few years ago, I warned that the housing prices would collapse. Before that, I warned that .com companies would crash, and they did. Those who listened had a chance to save themselves. But this has nothing to do with the stock market. This will affect us all. I've posted a free video at disappearingwealth.com. Maybe you'll disagree with my conclusions, but first you need to watch this video and see the facts for yourself. You can watch the video for free right now by going to disappearingwealth.com. Again, that's disappearingwealth.com.
This is the Onion Week in Review. This week, mothers across the nation invented a new drug to worry about, confirming that the completely fictitious new substance was appearing in schoolyards across the nation and is easily created from simple household products like sugar, window cleaner, and petroleum jelly. Calling the totally made-up narcotic scramp, mothers in desperate need of something to fret over deluded themselves into constantly agonizing over the widespread drug epidemic that exists solely in their minds.
My son sits in his room for hours and hours. It must be Scramp. He's a Scramp head. I bet they'll figure out how to scramp with this too.
In other news, a man confidently strides through a beaded curtain without parting it. A father takes a picture of his daughter every day from birth until he abandons his family. And the same homeless man is always begging for change on the same United flight. Stalled contract negotiations have prevented me from reviewing any more news until I receive a co-producer credit. But for more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin. mymagicmud.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. And you can join us right here. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Catalonian Secession. Since we've been talking about people dividing up into sort of belief-based groups and moving to those areas, about, beliefs about how society should be organized, like those kind of beliefs.
Anarchists of America, disband.
So we'll talk about Catalonia and what's going on there and how close they are getting to actually seceding from Spain. Here in moments. You can also join us on the phones at 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And in the studio tonight, we have a box of nuts and other treats.
Your nuts.
All of our nuts are actually in the box right now. Mark, tell me about what your favorite has been thus far from nuts.com.
I gotta say is it a real surprise? There's these milk chocolate caramel covered pecans, which are, just barely a nut.
There were pecans in there?
Oh, I didn't get any of those.
Yeah, you did.
Clearly, these were his favorites. I got the pretzels. But not
No, you had them.
No.
There was a little piece. It's a piece of candy, essentially, and there's a nestled in this milk chocolate and caramel is a pecan. Now, this is what we used to call turtles.
Okay.
My grandmother used to call them turtles, and I think that they still are somewhere. But they're delicious.
They look a little bit like a turd, but they don't taste like that.
Yeah, they're delicious. Turtles. Yes, they do not taste like chicken. But
those were fantastic. That was actually the first thing I had.
Yeah, they're very, very good. But I mean, obviously that's candy as opposed to, say, nuts.
I found your turtles.
And nuts. I guess one thing that I sort of noticed is all of these are premium nuts. Each one of these special salty nuts is the best of special salty nuts.
Well, and we've had
they're the finest nuts I've ever munched.
No doubt. And you can have some for yourself. To go to nuts.com, that's easy enough. Nuts.com. Click on the microphone, enter code FTL, and that's how new customers can get 4 free samples. You can choose from over 50 options. Now, we did not get 50 different choices here. We only got about 4, as you would too. So I don't know what all of their products are like, but if what we have here is an indication, it's very, very high quality.
Yeah.
Great packaging, great product. We got some cashews in there. We got a trail mix, organic trail mix product, and you even got a bunch of chocolate-covered pretzels. So it's not even all about nuts over at nuts.com. They got all kinds of great treats there as well.
These are the kind of things I think about for the holiday season.
Perfect gift.
When I would go to, when I go to the family's house, they always have little bowls of, nuts and say chocolate-covered pretzels and just a variety of things like this, little munchers vouchers so that you're not hungry. I think that these would be great for the holidays and giving gifts. You can plan ahead.
So for new customers over at nuts.com, use code FTL, click on the microphone to enter that code, and you'll get access to the choice of 4 free samples. Now, you do have to make a purchase in order to get the 4 free samples, but you're going to want some of this stuff because it's awesome. Go check it out, nuts.com with code FTL. Let's go to, I believe we have a reporter on the beach in Hawaii. Is TJ there?
Indeed, I am. Aloha and mahalo to you, Ian and Mark.
Well, hello
What's up, bro? Don't I get a hi?
Why, hello there, Mr. Paul. How are you doing, sir?
Life is good, TJ. How you doing?
So
you taking care of my
Actually, you will love this report. I actually have a very good report. So I am here on assignment for LRN News, where I've spent the previous 10 days investigating freedom and government regulations in Hawaii from my oceanfront suite at the Hyatt Regency. Now, after spending countless hours in limos and luxury spas in order to learn about the regulations that govern these businesses, and being forced to eat at 5-star French restaurants like Chef Marvo's, where a 7-course dinner of caviar, cream fraiche, and gnocchi with white Italian truffle shavings cost $670. It was a sacrifice that I had to make for uncovering the truth. And do you know what that truth is that I discovered, Ian?
That you don't have an expense account. That's what the truth is.
No. I discovered, thanks to my tax accountant, James Cleveland, that if I report on just one stupid regulation in Hawaii, this whole trip becomes tax deductible on my Schedule C as reasonable and necessary business expenses.
You pay taxes?
That sounds reasonable.
It is true. He's right. I would this is not tax advice, but I'm not surprised.
Yes, well, I mean, James Cleveland gives very good tax advice. And he said, well, anyway, so I uncovered a strange regulation that actually prohibits peddling on Waikiki Beach. In particular, revised ordinance of Honolulu 29-6.2 makes it illegal for anyone to vend or peddle on the sidewalks at Waikiki. And I wanted to report that on for example, I wanted to report on a luxury sunset dinner cruise, but the vendor said, I can't quote you a price or take your money here on this street because that would be illegal. We have to walk 1 block over and swipe your card on my phone, and I'll give you your reservation ticket there. Wow. And I thought this was a beautiful example of how the free market works around the government. And interestingly enough, when I told my booking agent that I like to film the police while on vacation, he immediately asked, have you heard about Cop Block and Ademo Freeman?
Incredible.
Nice.
It was. And so we hit it off right there, and so he sold me a special tour called Drew's High Life of Hawaii, where for $50 we got to experience ancient Hawaiian herbal medicine along the scenic Alawai Boulevard and Stevens Canal.
Bring me some herbal medicine, bro.
Don't get on a plane with herbal medicine, bro.
Mail it.
I did. After inhaling the medicinal herb, I started having very happy interactions with authentic Honolulu natives, including homeless beach dwellers, transgendered sex workers, and even a guy who could talk to aliens through telepathy.
Awesome.
And I must be honest, Ian, Mark, and Rich, that Drew's High Life of Hawaii was by far the most enjoyable event on this long 10-day assignment. It was even better than the $670 French restaurant, and only time will tell if the Honolulu PD will crack down on these kind of tours for having too much fun without a permit.
So wait, where did you meet this tour guide again?
It was actually right outside the Marriott. He said, sir, do you want to book a cruise or a luau? And I said, why, yes, I do. And so we started talking, and he said, well, I can't quote you a price here. We have to walk one street over.
It's illegal to give someone a price. He can ask if you want the cruise, but he can't quote you on it until you go back to the office on a different street.
Yes, because once you
How
quote
much
a price,
commerce is prevented by that?
Well, it's, apparently the law has said that accepting money or quoting a price, that's the line that becomes vending or peddling. As long as you're not quoting a price or taking money, it's not vending or peddling, and it's prohibited to vend or peddle on the sidewalks of Waikiki Beach. And that's why he had to take me 1 block over to take my money on his iPhone.
So, I mean, you've been in Hawaii now for a solid week doing investigative reporting.
10 long, arduous days, Ian. It was total hell.
Now tell me this.
Your next assignment's Baghdad.
Did the Free State Project make a mistake in specifically excluding Hawaii from the 10 possible options of states from which to choose for the Free State Project?
No way in hell, Ian. This state is completely – the index alone, I managed to get a complete copy of the revised ordinances of Honolulu. The index alone is 58 pages. It consists of over 32 chapters and is several hundred pages thick.
And this is Honolulu. This is for a city.
This is just Honolulu, yes, just for building and where you can vend and what you can and can't do.
Now, 58 pages, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that's just the table of contents?
The index.
That's the
index. Okay, gotcha. And what is that? How does that compare to another city? I mean, Baltimore or something like that.
Well, I hear the music coming, so I want to tell you,
reporting. We'll bring you back here. Oh, wait, you can't stand by?
Well, I was going to say, reporting live from Waikiki Beach in Honolulu, Hawaii for LRN News, I'm TJ Freeman.
All right, TJ, thanks for the call. We'll talk to you. I'll ask you more questions about Hawaii on Friday night when you will be guest co-hosting with us after you've returned here to the Shire. Thanks for the call here tonight. TJ and James will be in your seats, not together. Rich Paul, it's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com. So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 85% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. If you're a regular reader of freekeene.com, you know there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Join us toll free 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got all kinds of features on the website. We give them away to you, so please do enjoy those on us. Mark, tell me about LegalZoom.com.
Well, what LegalZoom.com is the website. Now, they're not attorneys over there, but they were started by an attorney, and they create documents for you for all kinds of circumstances. Most of the time, the average person interacts with government agencies, needs legal documents, these kind of things. They're the normal stuff. Well, LegalZoom.com handles the normal stuff. You need a living will to get disability benefits. Bankruptcy. I thank you for the mood music.
I don't know where
that That was beautiful.
That was the divorce theme song. You're going on a long trip for your divorce. Thus the music. You need, say, prenups or copyrights, deed transfers, anything like this, a will. If you don't have a will, go to LegalZoom.com right now and get one.
Dun, dun.
Right. You need more music. Cue the music.
Had I actually been doing that, I would have brought it back because it was pretty funny. So it was actually our board up in Minneapolis.
So LegalZoom.com. If you use coupon code FTL, you can save on your order $10. LegalZoom.com. I've used them and they're awesome.
All right, so you can join us here. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. The news out of Catalonia, it's pretty big, according to Vice News, vice.com. Catalonia's regional assembly voted on Monday in favor of a resolution, that's today, to split from Spain, energizing a drive toward independence and deepening a standoff with the central government in Madrid.
Viva la revolution.
Yeah, well, even though they want socialism, I still wish them the best of luck. I hope it works out for them. The declaration, which pro-independence parties in the northeastern region hope will lead to its splitting from Spain altogether within 18 months, was backed by a majority in the regional parliament. The fraught debate over the Catalan secession has railroaded campaigning for national elections on December 20th away from the country's lopsided emergence from an economic crisis. The resolution in Catalan said, quote, "The Catalan parliament will adopt the necessary measures to start this democratic process of massive, sustained, and peaceful disconnection from the Spanish state." And that is what the regional assembly voted in favor of today.
I'm much more interested in freedom on a more personal level than what we're talking about in regions here. But I guess you kind of have to ask yourself, how many what claim does the Spanish government have over the region called Catalonia? I mean, who the hell do they think they are saying, no, you cannot leave, you must, we are in a death pact, suicide mission, together, you will die with us. I mean, it's crazy.
The claim that they will probably make is that there are Spaniards in Catalonia and they want, I mean, there's very rarely a unanimous secession movement. Even our movement, they say that 3% of the colonists were revolutionaries, 3% of the colonists were Tories, and the other 94% just didn't want to get shot.
That's a pretty good number.
But
even within the libertarian movement, not everyone's a secessionist.
Oh yeah. Not all free staters are secessionists, and it might be easier to get the 10th Amendment obeyed than to actually secede. But I'll tell you what would be interesting, especially with a number of states' rights issues that people are very emotional about, like abortion, like medical marijuana, like gay marriage. It would be really interesting to see if we could pass a constitutional amendment to allow states to secede. Now, obviously,
I don't think... To the U.S. Constitution?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think there might be some red states that are so upset about gay marriage and abortion that they might sign on to a thing like that. And there might be some blue states that would sign on to that because they're upset about 10th Amendment issues and marijuana, for example.
Well, there are some people who are moving towards, they're trying to get their ducks in a row to have one of those constitutional conventions.
See, a con scares me because a con they could just as easily strip all of they could repeal the Bill of Rights. They could
propose that, but it still has to pass through 3/4 of the state to do it for a constitutional convention. So
now, is that by a popular vote in those states, or is it by their state legislatures?
Likely their legislatures, but
that sounds familiar.
Good luck with getting, say, stripping the Bill of Rights, say legalizing abortion and or whatever, getting it through, say, Utah or Vermont. These places are not going to agree on anything.
Well, they don't have to strip the Bill of Rights. They've already destroyed it without even doing anything to it. They just ignore it.
True.
They don't have to do that.
If they just had some kind of, I don't know. I mean, I think that probably with a con, what they need to do is they need to have things that have broad appeal, constitutional convention. They need to have things with broad appeal, like term limits. This has broad appeal, and people will definitely go for that.
Secession, you've already got 1 out of 5 Americans who supports the idea of their state seceding from the United States.
Is it 1 out of 5 supports seceding, or supports like not shooting people that want to secede?
I'm pretty sure they support out-and-out secession.
Okay.
That's, in my opinion, that's a good starting point to have a discussion and start persuading people to get on board with this idea.
Yeah, and the only thing we need from the people in the 49 doomed states is to not shoot us when we secede. That's all we need from them.
Yeah, and I think it's more plausible today because information travels so much faster, and everybody's got family and friends in every other state or whatever. So it's very unlikely that you're going to see the same kind of invasion and slaughter like you did with the Civil War.
Well,
I think
the difference between Catalonia is a much wealthier place than Spain.
That's true. And
Catalonia can finance a variety of things. Like these social welfare programs. It's the Catalans. What is it?
Catalans
have become used to. Here in the United States, for instance, people believe that their Social Security benefits are secured by the federal government and that they've paid in for a very long time. I would think it would be difficult for, say, the state of New Hampshire to say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to cover your social, to the 59-and-a-half-year-old or whatever who's ready to get their Social Security.
You can still collect your Social Security from abroad.
I wonder whether that would be it would have to be a pretty peaceful secession for that to be the case.
I would hope that it would be. Anyway, parties. Go ahead. Catalonia. Back to the story here from Vice.com. The parliament will adopt necessary measures to start the democratic process. Parties favoring independence from Spain won a majority of the seats in the Catalan Assembly, representing one of Spain's wealthiest regions in September. But the Spanish Constitution does not allow any region to break away, and the center-right government of Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has repeatedly dismissed the Catalan campaign out of hand, which is how Barack Obama treated the question here in the United States, basically referring the people asking the question to the Civil War and suggesting it had already been decided.
War does not determine who is right. War determines who is left.
Rajoy said the government would file an appeal with the Constitutional Court to ensure that Monday's resolution had no consequences, and further saying, I understand that many Spaniards have had a bellyful of this continued attempt to delegitimize our institutions, unquote. Polls show that opposition to Catalan independence is a vote winner across the political spectrum in the rest of Spain. So the rest of Spain wants Catalonia to stay in because they are the wealthiest area of Spain. And if Catalonia is to leave Spain, then that means it's going to hurt the welfare programs in the rest
of Spain. It's the same crap that you hear here where it's, the rich people should pay for this thing or that thing. Well, the richest region can't leave because we need their money.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But what happens when the rich people just decide to stop paying or leave the country entirely? Because eventually, if you keep making things hard on them, that's what they'll do. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. More about secession in moments.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you or cooperate with the NSA?
Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom, and with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Dr. Ngozi Obi is an emerging American author of Nigerian descent who's published 2 novels with an inspirational message. A third is in the works. Her first novel, Love's Destiny, follows Naira, a somewhat naive young woman, in a gripping tale of love lost and found. Her second novel, When Dreams and Visions Collide, follows Fern and friends as they discover what it takes to realize a dream and the true meaning of unconditional love. Dr. Obi's books are available where books are sold and ladyofdestiny.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
It's time to kick some ash because cigarettes have met their match. Smokers are switching to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig because when you kick ash, you kick tar and smelly smoke too. LeSig smokes the competition with real people customer service, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee, and same-day fast free shipping. Become a vapor today at LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes. Kick some ash.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. And you can join us here. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Catalonia, it's moving a little closer, possibly, to secession from Spain. At least the people in Catalonia would like to see that happen. It's just the problem is the rest of the people in Spain, on the other hand, not a fan of that idea. So we'll continue with that discussion. Also, want to invite you to AMP Free Talk Live. Mark, you put out a video earlier today. We recorded it last night on our Free Talk Live YouTube channel. And it was directed at former Free Talk Live amplifiers. The idea being that we have over 1,000 people who at one time were Free Talk Live amplifiers of this program. They gave $5 a month to the show, and to help us market Free Talk Live, to advertise the show to more radio stations, to get on more stations. It's the Free Talk Live amplifiers are the reason why we're on 150 stations. We wouldn't have been able to do it without listener support of helping us get the ideas of liberty onto more radio stations around the country, expanding our satellite footprint, getting more internet listeners as well. That's what the AMP dollars help us do. And so we were inviting those who had expired, their AMPs had expired. Maybe they just ran out and they didn't realize it. Maybe their credit card failed, and if your credit card fails 3 times, the system will auto cancel your account. Or maybe they had some financial difficulties. Sometimes, I'll always email folks and ask them, if everything's okay when they cancel. And sometimes it's like, yeah, everything's not okay. I lost my job. And so they had to cancel. So inviting those folks to come back on board. We've got a brand new website. It's fantastic. You can go to freetalklive.com and see it there and help us get on more stations. We can be on 300. We can. It's possible. We just need your help.
Yeah. You can help us get on more stations, but the end result there is to... If you like the ideas of liberty, if you believe in the concepts of human freedom that we talk about here on Free Talk Live is probably is a, if not unparalleled, it is at the very least unique in the way that we can bring the message of liberty to the average person. People listening in their cars, people listening to the radios all over the country, and 150 radio stations are hearing the message of liberty. And if you want more people to hear that message, more average individuals to spread these ideas farther and wider, because maybe it's a coincidence that the libertarian wave seems to track with the growth of Free Talk Live, or maybe Free Talk Live has something to do with it. I don't know the answer to that. I cannot show you statistics that show that that's the truth, but it certainly tracks. So please go to amp.freetalklive.com and support us.
Thanks.
Support our work and help us spread the ideas of liberty.
And the ideas of secession, with which I am a huge fan, and apparently the folks over in Catalonia are as well, where according to Vice.com, in a report filed today, their regional assembly voted earlier today in favor of a resolution to split from Japan. Or not Japan, from Spain.
Where did you get that?
I was watching another Vice report on Japan earlier today.
Okay.
So anyway, Catalonia looking to leave. The only problem is the Spanish government and Prime Minister Rajoy is not a fan. He has dismissed the Catalan campaign out of hand, saying the Spanish constitution does not allow any region to break away. And further, the government will file an appeal with the Constitutional Court to ensure that Monday's resolution has no consequences. Catalan secessionists argue they've tried to persuade the government to discuss the independence issue and have been blocked by unionist parties. The declaration said it considered that judicial decisions, in particular those of the Constitutional Court, were not legitimate, setting the region and Madrid on a collision course. A proxy independence vote was held 1 year ago, and the erstwhile head of the regional government, Artur Mas, has been indicted for holding the ballot. So for having the vote, they indicted this man.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're pretty serious about keeping the union together there.
They really got to have that wealthy Catalonian province.
Quote, what Catalan society faces now is the concept of politics as a war by other means, said the representative of the Junts pel Sí party, whose independence platform won the regional election. He told that to Parliament, saying further, we have a golden opportunity to design and construct a modern state which belongs to the 21st century, which is exemplary and able to defeat wrongdoing and corruption, he said. Well, that'll be the day when a state can defeat corruption. Yeah, you let me know about that one. I'd love to see the proof on that. But
all they need to do is form a suicide squad.
To kill themselves, and then
exactly.
That will
That's
end
how
corruption.
States can defeat corruption.
I love it. That's a great idea. But in the meantime, I support their concept of secession. I know that they just want to have their own socialist government, organized in a slightly different manner than the Spain national government is organized. So by no means is this a libertarian secession movement. And it's important to remember, secession. People who support secession are not necessarily libertarians. They're just people who want self-determination, or at the very least the ability to determine the direction of their particular plot of land's government.
And I think that there will be, over overarching organizations that will sort of organize some of these smaller governments, right? Like, so you have these small countries, and they'll probably become parts of larger organizations, and those organizations will work together in whatever way they do.
Catalan might well join the European Union if it leaves Spain, because Spain is it would almost be like breaking away from your state but staying under the federal government.
Right. The European Union is a big governing agency with way too many rules, and it's not like these people are going to be free. None of that is going to happen here.
Anyway, I just thought it was good news, and I wanted to share it. In fact, there's also other news about Hawaiian secession as a possibility. Maybe we'll discuss more of that coming up here on Friday. Now, I went out today and I did some jury nullification outreach here in Keene, New Hampshire, as we've been doing for many years.
Nothing unusual for you?
Yeah, many years. The only thing unusual about it is it gets me up before 7:30 in the morning. So it's always nice when I can actually have a full day of doing things.
For the day that work would get you up that early.
It just doesn't. But it was great, man. We probably only had one person reject the jury nullification flyer this morning out of maybe about 100 people who walked in the door, 75 or however many people they have in the pool.
What did that person say?
Nothing. I don't recall anything in specific. But we had a new mover who came out and joined me in this. So it's always a great way for people who've just moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project to get involved, because there's always something happening all across the state that you can do. And jury nullification, for those who don't know, jury nullification is your right as a juror to vote your conscience in a case, to actually use your feelings about a matter to decide whether or not somebody's guilty or not guilty. Meaning that if you feel the law is wrong, if you feel the law in the question of the case is bad, like I think is the case about the war on drugs, I think those laws are terrible, and I think that the war on drugs needs to end. Well, if I were a juror, could help end the war on drugs, at least in that moment, for the person who was being put on trial. Even if they caught that person, as they did with you, Rich, with video footage of selling cannabis to people, consenting adults, they found that footage, they put it on trial in your trial, and unfortunately the jury convicted you. But they could have voted not guilty, and had I been on your jury, I certainly would have voted not guilty because you didn't hurt anybody. And you did break the law, but the law is bad. So therefore, that's what jury nullification is.
Well, laws that are wrong need to be broken.
I agree. I think that good men do and women do break bad laws, and we're seeing more of that sort of civil disobedience on the rise again here in New Hampshire, which I'm super happy about, with Christopher David, who's the civil disobedient Uber driver, or the illegal Uber driver, who's now facing a wiretapping charge, a felony wiretapping charge, which means his charge is going to go in front of a jury, and that means that a jury is going to have to look at the New Hampshire statutes for wiretapping, which are arguably some of the worst in the United States. And the statutes, they're going to be asked to nullify in this case, I think, because the statutes, if applied, would likely find him guilty.
I disagree. It depends on how you interpret the word intercepted, okay? Because the wiretapping statute says that you may not record any verbal communication, but then it further defines verbal communication to mean something completely different from what those two words generally would mean together, which is a verbal communication in which the parties have a reasonable expectation of not being intercepted. Now, you could well interpret intercepted in that context to mean overheard, in which case, if you're on a public street and you know that other people can hear you, then you cannot be wiretapped. That is how I would interpret that statute, because we all know that in practice, news crews go out in the street and film all the time. And if you walk up to their camera and suggest a sexual act, as some people do, you can't then prevent them from broadcasting by saying you don't have my permission.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate it 5 stars, then share the link on social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm. That's apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Monday, November 9th, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.73 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,094 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $383. And HowWar.com reports over the weekend there was fighting again raging across southern Yemen, with 29 people reportedly killed in Taiz as fighting there between the Shiite Houthis and the pro-Saudi forces continued. 8 of those killed in Taiz were reportedly civilians, and no real territory in the area appears to have changed hands. The real change in the war was farther south in Dalia and Laj, where Houthi forces returned to areas they were previously pushed out of and have suddenly returned in force. At least 30 were killed in fighting in Dalia, though the offensive in Laj appears to have gone off with no real resistance. Pro-Saudi forces downplayed the sudden Houthi gains, the first in many weeks, and say they're confident that they have stalled the advance. Yet the shift in territory gives the Houthis control over an area not far from the pro-Saudi capital of Aden. Also significantly, the Houthi gains allowed them to recover some of the Bab al-Bandab coast, which may allow them to restrict the Saudi naval blockades movement between the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Previous use of the area by Houthis to fire on the blocking ships was a big reason for the Saudis to push into the area in the first place. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports millions of people voted on Sunday in Myanmar's first openly contested national election in 25 years after decades of military rule, where Nobel Peace Prize laureate Aung San Suu Kyi's party is expected to win most of the parliamentary seats. There are about 30 million eligible voters in Myanmar's elections out of an overall population of nearly 54 million. Many lined up to cast votes before the polls opened at 6 a.m., and demand was so high that some polls were extended past the 4 p.m. deadline. There were more than 6,000 candidates representing 90 different parties for the 664-seat parliament. The Union Solidarity Development Party, backed by the military, has been in power since 2011. A quarter of parliamentary seats are reserved for unelected military representatives who are expected to side with the USDP. Suu Kyi is banned from Myanmar's presidency as the constitution prohibits anyone with foreign offspring from the post. In a press conference on Thursday, however, Suu Kyi said, "I'm going to be above the president. I have already made plans." At least 100,000 people were denied voting rights, including minority Rohingya Muslims, leading to questions over the fairness of the election.
Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you promote Bitcoin as an alternative in a fiat-centric world? Then you need Spend a Bit in your arsenal, the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. Spend a Bit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Visit spendabit.co today. Bitcoin merchants, ask about our merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.co.
Reuters reports a Canadian Pacific freight train carrying crude oil through Wisconsin derailed on Sunday, knocking 12 cars off the track and spilling oil in the state's second derailment in 2 days. No one was injured in the incident in Watertown, about 50 miles west of Milwaukee. Earlier on Sunday, the BNSF Railway had said its crews had stanched the flow of ethanol from a freight train that derailed on Saturday about 140 miles away in Alma, Wisconsin, after thousands of gallons of the denatured alcohol leaked into the Mississippi River. In that incident, 25 cars derailed about 2 miles north of Alma, a rural community close to the Minnesota border. BNSF said on Sunday that crews in Wisconsin placed a containment boom along the shoreline of the river and started to pump the remaining product out of the cars. Work on repairing the tracks can begin once the derailed cars are put upright. The railroad said it expected the tracks to return to service Monday morning. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Jack Daniels announced today its plan to start marketing directly to children, adding, quote, "Why not?" Executives for the whiskey company told reporters that they've already slated dozens of television spots showing 10-year-old children drinking tumblers of Jack and Coke in playgrounds, and that the company was planning on, quote, "just seeing how it all played out."
Every year, Jack Daniels sells millions of dollars of great American whiskey to men and women all over the world. So, for our next ad campaign, we basically just thought, hey, why not just start marketing this stuff straight to 10-year-olds? I mean, if they catch us, they catch us, but we'll see how far it goes, and hopefully we can sell some alcohol along the way. Sure, some parents groups could get upset, especially if we go with our idea of moms serving their kids cranberry Jack at snack time. But
in other news, a doomed rabbit will teach an 8-year-old a lesson about responsibility, and a torrent of soap issues from a wildly unexpected part of the dispenser. Well, that was it. It's all downhill from here, bud. For more, visit theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in studio, Ian.
Rich Paul.
And Mark.
And I was mentioning before, I did some jury nullification outreach today. Went out with another early mover here, somebody who actually just moved within the last week here to the Keene area as part of the Free State Project. We've got people moving all the time here. Of course, the Free State Project is the idea of concentrating liberty-minded people in one geographic area. New Hampshire was chosen as the destination. And jury nullification's really taken off this year, Rich. You were on the board of directors for the new board of nhjury.com. And NHJury is kind of an outreach organization specifically focusing on jury nullification, promoting that within New Hampshire. There's a great national level group called the Fully Informed Jury Association. So anybody outside of New Hampshire, I recommend they check out FIJA.org. If you are in New Hampshire or you just want to see how we're doing it here, go to nhjury.com. But here, this year, it's been a real uptick in the amount of activists who become interested in this project. And we now have 6 or 7 of the 10. There are only 10 counties in New Hampshire. So, what are there, like 60 in Florida or something ridiculous like that? 68?
Yeah, like that.
Here, there's only 10 of them. And so there's only a few courthouses to cover. And we've got 6 or 7 out of those 10 covered now on a regular basis. There are people doing jury nullification outreach.
And I got to give a lot of props to Joel Valenzuela and the Rights Brigade for that.
Yeah,
too.
he pretty much
They've
single-handedly
done a lot of work.
He pretty much single-handedly organized like probably 5 out of those 7 locations.
Yeah,
So-
we've been handling Keene, but he's done a lot of work.
And there's been guys doing it in Grafton for a while. So Keene and Grafton, or the Cheshire County and Grafton County in New Hampshire, have been doing it for a while. But now this year it's just exploded across the state. And it's really easy to do it here in New Hampshire. You go relatively unmolested. There's, I guess, been a courthouse in the Seacoast where the bureaucrats have come out, or the court security agents have tried to shoo the activists away from the doors, and I guess they did. They didn't stand their ground, so they were successfully shooed away from the front doors. Here in Cheshire County, they tried to tell me years ago to stop opening doors for people and to stop being to don't be courteous were the exact words that were used to me, and I did get them on video saying that, and it makes for a pretty entertaining video. And then when they went back in the court, I opened the door for them as they went back in. So I totally ignored what they told me. And ever since that day, that was in 2009, I think. I mean, it was a while back. Ever since then, I've never had one negative interaction with the sheriff's officers at that courthouse, any of the uniformed agents. As far as outside doing jury nullification outreach, it's been completely uneventful. We've had success after success of people in New Hampshire. It's like 90+% of the people that'll walk into the courthouse will take these flyers. Unfortunately, it doesn't go so well in other places. We've got video footage from this is Ocean County, New Jersey, where Jim Babb, who's a great activist in the Philadelphia region, I don't know. He likes to float around to different courthouses and do jury outreach as a one-man band, which
Jersey isn't that far for him.
Yeah. So he likes to go to these different places and try doing jury outreach, and yeah, sometimes you have better luck than others in places like New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and in this case, it didn't work out very well. Thankfully, he didn't get taken away in handcuffs, but it got pretty intimidating with what happened. I've got the audio here from the YouTube video on George Donnelly's YouTube channel. This is Jim Babb being encountered he's inside the court facility right now in this footage. He's on like a walkway, some sort of a bridged kind of walkway maybe between buildings where he's handing out flyers, jury nullification flyers to potential jurors. And that is when he is confronted by this uniformed security agent. Turns on his camera.
Okay, I'm recording and live streaming you. Your name?
What's your name?
I don't answer questions. No, nothing personal.
I don't have to answer questions.
Now, one of the reasons I wanted to play this is because Jim Babb is awesome, and the way he handles his interactions with these bureaucrats. Remember, he's alone. There's no one else with him. All he has is his flyers and his video device, which I believe is a smartphone, but I'm not sure about that. I think it is judged on the quality of the video here. So the way he handles these interactions, his responses or lack thereof, great stuff you can learn from this.
I'm just telling you that you're free to distribute your information, but you can't solicit in a public area.
Okay, not soliciting.
What does solicit mean, Mark? You're a salesman.
To sell things, to attempt to sell things at the very least.
If you are giving away information about people's rights, is that considered soliciting by any definition that you could possibly stretch to?
That would be pamphleting.
Only if the pamphlet requests them to take a specific action, then you might be able to say that the pamphlet is soliciting them to take the action that's in the pamphlet.
Yeah, I could see them trying to stretch to that, but
I would think at the very least that there would need to be money changing hands for it to be solicitation.
See, that I don't know about.
Well, no, you can solicit without getting without having someone agree to buy what you're soliciting.
And there are different meanings to the word. An attorney in Britain is a solicitor. So
that's true.
All of the possible meanings of that could be roped into the legal definition of solicit.
Well, I'll take a look on that. But what just asking somebody for money is solicitation, in my opinion.
I agree. Yes, it's the pitch of the requesting money for a service of some sort or a product.
I'm going to have to go.
But what about asking them for Bitcoin?
That would be soliciting. Any kind of trade or consideration in return for a product or service requesting that would be a solicitation.
In criminal law, solicitation is the act of offering or attempting to purchase goods or services, according to this. In England and Wales, however, it does talk about the term. It's soliciting is usually for a person, whether male or female, persistently to loiter or solicit in a street or public place for the purpose of prostitution. So, solicitor at that point is just fine for that.
Moving on here with more of the interaction.
Okay, but you can't.
Is there a regulation about that limits freedom of speech here that I need to know about?
We're not limiting your freedom of speech.
Okay, great.
This is, we have jurors coming in here, and you can't tamper with the jurors.
Oh no, that's not tampering with jurors. It's a free speech area where I'm allowed to exercise my First Amendment right, and that.
See, what these bureaucrats count on is that you don't know what you're doing. They figure you're just some dupe who's trying to hand something out to people, and that they can come around and make some misinterpretations of what the law says to you as though it's actually the law, and that you'll just accept what they say because she's wearing a badge and she has a uniform on. So she must know the law, right? Well, no. Turns out government bureaucrats most of the time don't even know the law, as you'll find out here in just a few moments when she calls in the big boss man to come talk to him, and he'll admit that he actually doesn't even know the law that they're trying to enforce upon him. But yet they throw around terms like solicitation and jury tampering, and that's another one you can look up. Jury tampering is where you're attempting to influence a juror into voting a specific way on a specific case.
Right. So, hey, if you find Big Tony guilty, I'll bet something terrible happens to your knee. Right? Yeah. Like that would be jury tampering because we're talking about Big Tony's.
Tony,
what's that?
Or if you vote to acquit Tony, I will pay you.
Specific case, Big Tony's case, specific action, which way you want it to happen. So, you don't find Big Tony guilty, or you do find Big Tony guilty, then you have jury tampering.
Right.
However, if you were talking about, look, here's some information about how you 1,000-year right to to judge the law, not just the person who's being accused. You can find that you don't agree with the law and still find the person not guilty if that's what you wish to do, because that's the right of a juror.
Right.
Then, that's fine. There's just no good standing for this.
You might even be able to argue jury tampering if it wasn't a specific case. If you were, say, standing outside of a drug trial and saying all drug trials should be nullified, or all drug trials should be not guilty, they could probably argue for jury tampering in that case.
They could argue for it, but I would say you still have a First Amendment right to do it.
You might be right. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but even that's not what's going on here. This is Jim Babb giving out information about the right of jury nullification, which does not say which way you should vote. It just says you can vote not guilty based on your conscience. This is Free Talk Live, and we'll play more of the audio coming up.
Have you become a slave to big tobacco? Have they taken away your money, your health, and even your freedom, forcing you to stand out in the cold this winter? There's an alternative. With the help of Jimmy the Juice Man and GiantVapes.com, for less than the cost of a carton of cigarettes, you can make the switch to electronic cigarettes and take back your freedom. At GiantVapes.com, you'll find a selection of high-quality, reasonably priced electronic cigarette hardware kits to get you started, and a selection of delicious, premium, flavored liquid refills from the award-winning Jimmy the Juice Man brand. These aren't the junk you find at your local gas station. Use the coupon code FTL10 for 10% off your first order of hardware and Jimmy the Juice Man brand liquid at GiantVapes.com, where you will always get free guaranteed same-day shipping. Break free of the chains of sin taxes and big tobacco. Free same-day shipping and 10% off from GiantVapes.com. Giant, VAPES.com with coupon code FTL10.
Are you tired of commuting to a job that makes someone else rich, working harder than ever, but getting nowhere? Do you hate spending hundreds of dollars every week on daycare, having someone else raise your children? With our opportunities, you can start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss, work from home, and live a happier life. At Be the Boss Network, you'll find hundreds of work-from-home opportunities that you can literally start today and be earning money as soon as next week. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You get to be the boss. Get out of the rat race. Work from home. Go to freedom106.com right now and change your life today. That's freedom, the number 106.com. Go to freedom106.com and start earning money as soon as next week. You be the boss. Go to freedom106.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is even at $1,090 per ounce. Silver is down 15 cents at $14.68 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $384 US. This looks like a great time to buy on the dips. If you'd like more information about buying gold or silver, call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or visit us online at rrbi.co.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here toll-free. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got Skype. Skype username is LRN.FM. And tonight, Ian here.
Rich Paul.
And Mark.
We're going to continue with more of New Jersey's Ocean County, where Jim Babb was confronted and threatened with being arrested with jury tampering. And it gets more intense here in the video as the initial security agent at the courthouse calls over her boss to attempt to really put the threats on James. We'll show you, or rather play for you, the audio from the video here in moments. And also, we'll go to your calls and thoughts. Want to invite you to our website. It's shop.freetalklive.com to go and get your shopping done for the holidays. Go ahead and check the stuff off the list right now. And Free Talk Live gets a portion of the sale when you go through shop.freetalklive.com. You'll find Amazon there. There's even a link for Walmart. But there's Amazon Canada, Amazon US, Amazon UK. You just go there, click into the right Amazon for you, and Free Talk Live gets a portion of the purchase price. That's if you're going to use like a credit card or something like that. If you've got Bitcoin, then you can always go to saveatpurse.com and save big time on your purchases. But if you're going the regular route, just go to shop.freetalklive.com. Get your shopping done for the holiday season, or just for you at shop.freetalklive.com. Michael is in Longview, Texas. You're on Free Talk Live, the Ian, Rich, and Mark.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Michael.
I've noticed recently, because it's come up more, I guess, that, usually when somebody brings up race, either they're black, complaining about white people complaining about black people, or whatever it is, that you're kind of short with them.
Yeah, I'm really tired of hearing about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't fault you on that at all. I kind of am too. I'm kind of of the opinion that, like when people ask me why I don't spank my children, physically abusing them. That's how I think of it. I think of a world where if children were never exposed to violence, spanking, or whatever kind of violence, that maybe they'd grow up in a world where, they don't even think about it.
Yeah, I'd love that. That'd be great. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world yet.
I wonder about this. My child's never been spanked. I mean, your children, are they little angels? Do they never use violence against
No.
each other?
They have. And, I have spanked my children before. I mean,
Okay.
It's been years since I have spanked one of my children. But, I prefer to not spank them and, just explain the consequences of what they're doing. And hopefully they'll learn from that. And for the most part, they have.
Excellent.
Well, the scientific experiment I'm doing at my house with one kid, because that's all I got.
It's not scientific unless there's a control.
Certainly not. It is that we don't spank, but also television's happening and things like that. And I wonder to myself how much, he was just. His uncle Ian loaned him some videos today, and he was watching the first third of the season of Transformers. This is the 80s cartoon, the old one, and he was very excited when he got
that's good.
lent these videos. And there's punching, there's swords,
there's a lot of violence in that show.
Lots of this stuff, and I wonder how much he learns, because he's, it's not like he's fighting. He's not doing a lot of fighting himself, but he wants to wrestle. He wants to pretend to do these things, and that's all fine. But yeah.
Well, you can move to the island of the pacifists and raise your child there, where he will never ever be exposed to violence. But if he ever ventures out into the real world, where there are real nutcases and cops and thieves and other people, my expectation is that kid would probably get slaughtered. I mean, a kid should learn to fight when he's a child. A kid should learn to defend himself.
I hear there's an app for that now.
Well, there is, if you want to do it Fight Club style. I would generally recommend seeking some training at your local kung fu school first. That's what I did.
Michael, any other thoughts on the subject? Go for it.
I was just kind of wondering, I mean, you're just tired of hearing about race? Is that pretty much what it boils down
can't we
to?
just be human beings and judge people based on their, the content of their actions and their character and their words?
That's absolutely what we should do.
Thanks, Michael, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Jim Babb in the hallways of the county, Ocean County, New Jersey. Sheriff's court security comes up, threatens him with possible jury tampering charges for handing out jury information, claims that he's soliciting. He says, I'm not soliciting. I'm not selling anything. And I'm not tampering with the jury either. I'm giving them information about their rights. So here's some more of the clip.
That's what I'm here to do.
Okay.
Are you going to prevent me from doing
I'm
that?
not preventing you at all.
Okay, so that's what I'm here to do. I'm not soliciting. If there's some other law
It's not a
or
law.
regulation I need to know about, please let me know.
It's our policy, and
Okay.
you cannot in a public building.
Okay.
All right, so she goes away, and she gets her boss man to come out, and he's going to lay down the law.
And I think it's interesting what he's doing here is inside the building. Now, I have never seen jury outreach done inside of a building.
I've done it.
Isn't that in reach? If you do it inside.
Gotcha.
I've done it here, and I did it when the new courthouse opened up here, and they basically wrote an order. The judge wrote an order banning all flyering on the property or on the inside of the building. So that's why I now do it outside, because if I were to do it inside, I would violate the judge's order, which would mean a contempt of court charge. So I have actually done that, Mark, here in Cheshire County one time.
And you got kicked out and you don't do it anymore.
Yeah, and now there's an order that bans all flyering of any sort, any kind of transferring of paperwork from one person to another. So actually all of the court clerks are in violation of the judge's order every single day, multiple times a day.
If
the way this is written.
If they could say that we just ban Ian from doing the things that he wants to do, they would.
They
here.
can't do that, though. So anyway, going on here.
Are you James? Yes. Joe Green. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm a lieutenant here at the sheriff's office. Hang on a second. Go ahead.
So Mr. Joe Green, the sheriff's lieutenant, is Mr. Nice Guy. Hey, are you Jim? Hey, Joe Green. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm from the sheriff's office.
You got it going?
He's even waiting for him to get the video started and pointing at it. You got the camera rolling there? Super nice guy, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Mr. Green?
Yeah, Lieutenant Green. I'm with the sheriff's office. I just want to let you know what you're doing. Awesome. Support it 100%.
Great.
You can't do it here.
You just can't. I support you 100%, Jim, but you're going to have to move along. Go over there by the dumpster.
You're making all kinds of fun, but I would rather have my bureaucrats act like this.
Oh, no. He's just acting.
I wasn't sure about, I didn't see any rule that limited free speech here.
Well, no, it's not a free speech thing. It's a jury tampering thing. We have jurors coming through here.
No,
I have a trial going on. You know what I mean?
No,
I completely...
But I'm here, this is a public throughway. As far as I know, this is a area,
Well,
I'm just handing out to the general public. And that's what I do. I've done this at dozens and dozens of courthouses.
I understand that.
It's a public area. Unless you have a law or a regulation you wanted to bring to my attention, I will be exercising my right of free speech unless I'm somehow threatened or coerced otherwise.
No, I'm not
I will, of course, obey.
Oh, I'm not threatening you, he says.
Yeah, that's all they got.
Well... So they're trying the nice approach. The lady threatening him earlier didn't work, so now they're sending out the boss man with the Mr. Friendly bureaucrat approach. But as you'll see here, things get less than friendly in this video. 855 450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
There are hundreds of silver products on the market today, but there's nothing like the astonishing health benefits of the multi-patented One Silver Solution. Boost your immune system at a great price with our Silver Solution Liquid, starting at $12.95 a bottle. Now available in regular and extra strength. That's half the price of the leading competitors. Call 844-USILVER for your free catalog, or go to onesilversolution.com. Onesilversolution.com. There is only one Silver Solution.
So you've got to take a state construction license exam or certification. Can't decide on what books or what chapters to study? Discover right now how you can eliminate unnecessary books and wasted study time. At contractorexam.com, our study materials zero in on state-required test topics in an effective, multiple-choice format. So whether you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, or other construction-related trade, contractorexam.com will help get you prepared. Visit us at www.contractorexam.com today.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
If you're looking for work, it's a process of elimination, and you're trying not to be eliminated. So here's a tip for making the cut, and this might seem subtle, but to the person interviewing you, it's not. There is a world of difference between applicants who convey, "I need a job," and those who simply ooze, "I want to work," especially in these lean times when many you're competing with will seem desperate in "I'll take anything" mode. If you convey specific interest in this job at this company, you will be conspicuous. Thus, the value of going to school on the company you're applying to before the interview. With money and attention so tight now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here to bring up whatever you want. Maybe you want to talk about jury nullification or standing up for your rights, which is something that Jim Babb is fantastic at doing. He's actually one of the hosts of Freedom Fiends, a great show. It's an overnight libertarian talk show, and it's heard on LRN.FM and some radio stations as well. And Jim Babb has gone it alone more times than not in these courthouses, and has been threatened before. This is not his first rodeo with these clowns like this goon from the sheriff's department who has come out now to play Mr. Nice Bureaucrat and act like, "Oh, hey, Jim, I really support what you're doing here, man, but you got to do it somewhere else. You can't be doing it here inside the courthouse. Why don't you go down there somewhere where there's other people and you won't be talking to the potential jurors who, of course, are the people you're trying to actually reach with a message of jury nullification, which in a nutshell is your right to vote based on your conscience." So when Jim continues to stand up for himself, Mr. Nice Bureaucrat becomes progressively, well, he loses the facade.
I will be exercising my right
Jim's voice.
of free speech unless I'm somehow threatened or coerced otherwise.
I'm not
I will of course obey any lawful order, but I am exercising my right that's protected by the First Amendment.
Who's that?
I'm not here to cause trouble, but this is what I do, and it is allowed.
Yeah,
so
I understand that.
If you have some regulation you wanted me to look at, I'd be happy to. But I'm not soliciting.
What I'm trying to do right now is just ask you nicely to go down and do it on the sidewalk downstairs.
Oh, so he's just asking. He's just asking nicely. Well, thank you. I'm going to politely decline. Thank you for asking nicely. I'm politely declining and will continue to hand out my information that I want to give to these people because freedom of speech, buddy. This is a government building. I've done this before. This isn't the first time I've been, here doing this or in courthouses generally doing this. Jim is absolutely right. He's well within his rights here. And the bureaucrat, he's just asking. And if ever bureaucrat says that they're just asking you to do something, by all means, feel free to clarify. Oh, so you're just asking me? Yeah, I'm just asking you. Okay, well, thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Have a nice day.
Okay, well, this is actually the best spot for me right now.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
This is the best spot.
I'm going to ask you one more time.
Okay.
Okay. Then I'm going to go in and actually get the statute. I don't know it off of the top of my head. And then I'm going to bring you downstairs.
Oh. Now wait a minute. I thought he said he wasn't threatening him. Now, when he says I'm going to bring you downstairs, does that mean he's going to just invite him to come downstairs?
I don't think it does.
It could mean that. My response would be, well, I won't go with you.
Yeah, he doesn't respond that way, but generally when bring you downstairs is used, that means he's going to put you in handcuffs and take you down to his office where you will be booked and processed and charged with some sort of trumped up nonsense.
Well, definitely if I will bring you or I will take you, the I is the subject and you become an object
Exactly.
of that.
Yeah, you will become his possession at that point. So it's all of a sudden become threatening, this conversation that moments ago was just a nice request.
Yeah. Well, I'd be happy to review it with you if you want to take a look
I'm
at it.
not gonna do this with you, okay?
Do what?
go through all of this. Oh, I'll go through it with you. You're gonna do what I tell you to do when I come back out here. You understand?
Oh, yes. As I said, not so nice now.
Well, that's a different story. You're going to do what I tell you to do when I come back out here.
That's right.
Assuming he has the law in his hand.
He'll tell him what to do anyway when he comes back out.
I got what you're saying, but at the very least, that's something different than I'm going to go look at the law, and then I'm going to come back here and take you downstairs. Is different than
he's not going to have a law when he comes back because he does. There is
no law.
Yeah,
right. So
I
if he
think
comes
Ian
back,
knows how it ends.
Yeah, Ian's pretty.
Well,
familiar.
actually, he doesn't end up coming. Well, you'll see what happens here shortly.
Sounds a little
I'm going
authoritarian.
to. Well, that's my job. That's what I do. Okay? I'm trying
to interfere with free speech.
No. How did I start this conversation?
I told you the same thing, sir. We're not interfering.
Yeah.
How did I start this conversation? You want to rewind your tape?
You don't have to get nasty.
I'm not getting nasty.
Okay,
I'm just asking you.
Right.
You want to
I'm
rewind
assuming we can talk about this as
I'm trying to.
Okay.
I'm trying to. But now you're making my job more difficult.
How is that?
Because you're saying you want statutes and all of this. I don't know this off the top of my head. I'm not a walking encyclopedia.
Okay, the law enforcement officer claims not to know the law on something he comes out here. He doesn't need to be a walking encyclopedia. He was called to the scene.
He made specific threats. He was in the office before he came here.
He's using a term like jury tampering.
Yep.
And, perhaps he could have looked that up before he came along.
It wouldn't have hurt.
But it's easier to just bluster. I mean, most of the time it works. Most of the time they can just shoot from the hip and say whatever they want, and people will believe them. They're not up against Jim Babb, usually, when it comes to this. Now, remember, Jim is alone here. He has no one else backing him up. So one of the things...
Don't try this at home.
Yeah, don't try this alone. Please don't do what Jim Babb has done. Even if you know your stuff, try to bring somebody else out with you. Because one of the things that the bureaucrats have successfully done is they have interdicted and prevented him from handing out any other flyers. By simply monopolizing his time with this conversation, anyone who's walking by, potential jurors who are going into the courthouse, are not being handed flyers by Jim because he's too busy talking to these bureaucrats. If there was a second person there, the second person could continue handing out flyers, if they had the gumption to do so, in front of the very bureaucrats who are threatening them over it. And Jim could deal with the bureaucrats. So,
yeah, if you have allies with you, then the whole thing switches around, and you can monopolize the cop's time and prevent him from hassling your ally.
You could distract
at least until he gets back up.
Exactly. So yeah, having more of you than there are of them is a game changer every single time. So let's go on here with the audio.
Right, well, just help me understand. If you're not offhand aware of a statute that prevents me from being here, why are we having a conversation?
It's called jury tampering, and I keep seeing jurors walking past with their jury tags on, okay? And right now there's trials going on that are directly related to what you're doing.
Well,
and I'm
this
asking
isn't
you,
directly related to any particular trial.
I'm asking you, please, man to man, go down where you're allowed to be. This is considered county property.
I'm asking you, man to man, get down to your office and quit bothering me.
See, at that point, another tactic that I would have at least considered would be to say, well, here, take some of my literature and you go read it and tell me exactly which part of it directly relates to this case.
Yeah, that would have been a good move.
Because he probably doesn't even know what's in the literature yet.
Yep, I bet you're right about that too.
Can't be up here. Okay?
Nope, not okay.
Well, I'd like to find out on what authority this command is coming from.
2C. Authority is Lieutenant Green from the Sheriff's Office, right here. This whole thing right here is my responsibility.
Okay, but are you just kind of making this up as we go along?
Yes, he is.
Well,
policy and has been
may I see a copy of the policy, please? Could you provide that for me?
We don't write down our policies. If we wrote down our policies, we'd be responsible for upholding them and stuff. We make them up when we find people that are doing things that annoy us. That's our policy. Stop annoying us.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, he says you're in violation of this policy, but I don't know what the policy is. Without knowing what the policy is, how can he possibly know whether anybody's in violation of it?
Further, if he has to go and get the policy, then when he comes back, he's going to arrest you anyway, if you're still there, basically, is what he said.
Yeah, so basically, I won't research this without arresting you for making me research it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to find something that I can print out for you, sir, telling you that this has been and is the policy. Okay?
Oh,
We will find
I would
something.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure, but we are asking you once again to step outside.
In the meantime, I'm going to need you to go downstairs, and we'll meet you out right down there.
And you're ordering me to do that?
Yes, I am.
Under threat of some kind of violence?
Yes.
Okay.
No, not violence.
Oh, no. It is a threat. He did say yes, that he's ordering him and that, yes, it is a threat. But no violence would be used. No, of course not. I mean, we're gentlemen.
How do you intend to arrest me without violence, sir? You might find that difficult. I might just walk away.
So he goes downstairs. Finally, now he's under orders from this man. He knows that if he continues, this man is going to put him in handcuffs. So, not feeling like getting arrested, can't blame him. He heads downstairs at this point and awaits their arrival with the supposed law, right? They're going to go and do this research and, show him the rules. What are they citing? So we'll get into that section of the video, and you can share your thoughts on Free Talk Live. Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people, where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
You can control your health care with Liberty Health Share.
Liberty Health Share is like-minded people coming together to share medical costs, which saves money.
You don't even have to pay for procedures that violate your conscience.
Because we all share the same values.
Join the movement of people who share in medical costs and change the way you pay for your health care forever.
Go to libertyhealthshare.org to find out more.
Liberty Health Share.
Together, we're changing healthcare for good. libertyhealthshare.org.
It's time to kick some ash because cigarettes have met their match. Smokers are switching to Vaporite e-liquid by LeSig because when you kick ash, you kick tar and smelly smoke too. LeSig smokes the competition with real people customer service, a 7-day satisfaction guarantee, and same-day fast free shipping. Become a vapor today at LeSig.com, spelled LECIG.com. LeSig e-cigarettes. Kick some ash.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to produce an endless supply of nano-sized silver solutions right from the convenience of your home. Silver Lungs. With the addition of our unique lung delivery system, respiratory infections are targeted directly, where traditional oral administration simply cannot reach. This pioneering method also preserves the original particle sizes and delivers your silver solution directly into the bloodstream. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at silverlungs.com. That's silverlungs.com.
November 11th used to be called Armistice Day. Armistice Day was about celebrating the end of war, not the nationalistic celebration of perpetual death that day has become. Here at Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, we celebrate Armistice Day by putting our money where our heart is. Shop online at rrbi.co November 11th, and Roberts & Roberts will give all the profit of every sale to antiwar.com. Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Roberts & Roberts has been your trusted source for precious metals for nearly 40 years, and we're anti-war and pro-free market. Banks drive war. Why use their money? By investing in silver, gold, and Bitcoin, you are exiting the corrupt system that enables war. Roberts & Roberts, we don't feed the banks. Roberts & Roberts' website is rrbi.co. That's rrbi.co. And our toll-free number is 800-874-9760.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
You're You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. We've got moments remaining here, and maybe enough time for you. If you join us now, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, Skype into the show. Skype username is LRN.FM. We're playing audio from Jim Babb. He's a great liberty activist from the Philadelphia area. In this case, he's actually in Ocean County, New Jersey, where he's handing out jury nullification information and was subsequently threatened by members of the Sheriff's Department, including the head boss man of the Sheriff's Department for the courthouse. He threatens him, and ultimately, while on one hand claiming he's not threatening him, does threaten him with arrest if he continues to hand out the flyers, tells him to go downstairs, and then wait as he retrieves some supposed ordinance or whatever that he's violating, supposedly jury tampering, which, of course, he's not jury tampering because he's not telling anyone how to vote on a case. He's suggesting that they learn about their rights, which is the right to jury nullify, to vote your conscience in a case. That doesn't tell you which way to vote. It just informs you that you have the right to vote whichever way you darn well feel like voting. And this is a huge threat to the court system. It's a huge threat to the status quo, and they react accordingly in a lot of places.
I'm not sure it's a huge threat. We've been informing people of this in Keene, New Hampshire for years, uninterrupted for years. Every juror in the entire county that comes here gets a flyer from just about every one of them gets it, and it's been happening for years. And so far, we haven't seen a single case of nullification.
Well, you wouldn't know necessarily.
We don't know.
You don't follow. I don't take the time to follow which cases are in the courthouse and which ones have which outcomes. In the cases of the activists who've had trials, we have yet to see an actual nullification, although Kathleen Converse, who is a liberty activist, and she spoke on the jury nullification panel with you and I at Keenvention, Rich, she was actually on a jury, and she helped nullify a jury here in New Hampshire. So it has happened in New Hampshire with the assistance of a Free State Project early mover. So we don't ultimately know how effective this has been, but I have had jurors thank me because they have they impanel the pettit juries for 2 months here. And so you give them flyers 1 month, and then if you come back the next month, you'll see the same people come in, and they'll give you some feedback sometimes, and they'll say that they appreciated the information. So it is having an impact, and the ideas are a threat to the state. That's why they respond in this way. If your ideas weren't a threat to the state, they would just let you hand them out.
Let's say the ideas are the state finds the ideas threatening.
Well, right. If someone actually implements them, it is a threat to their status quo. Let's go to Glenn. He's in Philly. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Rich, and Mark.
Hi, guys. There's 11 minutes left. Could you please cut to the chase? This is somewhat interesting, but you're kind of flogging it to death with your endless play-by-play banner.
All right, we'll get right on that. Thanks, Glenn. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. Since he's in such a rush, here's some more of the audio.
What's that?
All right, we're now outside, by the way. James has gone outside. He's awaited the return of these two sheriff's agents, and they have, true to their word, actually come back. I kind of thought they were going to just, he was going to go outside, and then they were just going to leave him there. But they actually did come back to further threaten him.
Yeah, no, it's not optional at this point.
Am I being investigated for a crime?
Can we turn a little bit? I can't see it.
Oh, sure.
As a matter of fact, you may be, yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah, right here, this is the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office,
Yeah.
and we just sat down with the number 1 and number 2 attorneys over there. And according to them, 2C29-8, little c, is tampering with the jury.
Now, he did not bother to print out this 2C29-8. As Jim had requested, he wanted to see the law in question, not just be given some rattled numbers and letters.
Well, okay, so police officers generally do not produce the law for people to view. The interpretation of the law is left to the courts in these circumstances. So I think he has plenty of legal standing to do what he does.
Well, I don't know. He might have legal standing to do it, but it does. I mean, he just said he conferred with the prosecutor.
Sure.
Now, the prosecutors have computers, and they can certainly dump something to the printer. So
I've had bureaucrats show me
it seems
things.
a
Really
peace
poor-
officer in this situation would be trying to convince the guy at least that what he's doing is against the law, because that's how you peacefully get somebody to go away.
Well, working for the government means you
never.
never have to say you're sorry. This is really poor customer service because you're not a customer of the government.
Well, and now there's an the guy has admitted now he's being investigated officially for jury tampering, and they are not allowing him to leave.
And what you're handing out, that you obviously have gotten rid of at this point, what you were handing out to jurors as they walk past, could be construed as tampering with the jury, which is a third-degree charge. So now, yes, we are investigating a crime, and I'm going to ask you for please take your hands out of your pocket, first of all, and give me your driver's license so we can identify.
So things are getting pretty intense here. I mean, he's moments away from possibly being arrested.
Thank you.
For tampering with the juries, but you told me I was wrong.
See, I told you you should stop. Yeah, if you just stopped, we wouldn't have to be arresting you right now, but you're a bad person.
You see what you made me do to you, wife? Now I've broken your jaw.
Times, and the question has come up, but it's always it is a free speech protected activity. So sometimes it just
the
takes
right
people
to a fair jury trial trumps your right to free speech right now.
But feel free to take my information. What's that? What happened? That was a long time ago.
Now, when he asks what happens, he's feigning some kind of concern for Jim.
For what?
He points to his license when he's asking the question. He's pointing to his photograph on the license. I don't know if he had like a black eye or something like that. Maybe there was some sort of problem with his face on the license photo, but just acting like he's so concerned for his well-being.
3400 Central Ave, River.
So anyway, this goes on for a few moments here,
and we understand what you're trying to do.
I get it.
We get it. I mean, that's not.
Okay,
The issue is that there's a jury trial going on right now.
There's a jury trial going on all the time. It's a courthouse, lady.
Yeah.
These buyers have the potential to influence the jury. And
that's the idea, to give them information.
Well, not really. But I don't expect you to, make that determination.
But you understand that I have to do my job.
Sure, I understand.
No, your job is to enforce the law. And
you're not the first person to raise that question, but it's been settled. So sometimes it just takes them a little while to figure it out. I'm not here to, challenge anyone's authority or ruffle feathers, but I have a job to do like you do.
I understand. We understand.
You're Russell Jimmy's.
I've been enjoying using their lines sometimes back on them like that, like you just did there. Well, I'm just doing my job too, lady. You're doing your job. I'm doing mine. My job's to give people information. Your job's to stop them from getting it, apparently.
I'll tell you the line that gets a laugh every time I watch the video with somebody is when we're giving Maggie Hassan what for.
Oh, yeah.
And the security card comes up and says, "Can I help you?" And I don't know which one of us, but one of us says, "Nope, we're doing just fine talking to Maggie."
Yeah, that was a great video. Let's go on here.
Public property is, you're allowed to pass out information on public property.
Right.
So.
She looks so uncomfortable right now in this video.
She's used to just telling people to do things and they do it.
Okay.
So she gets the license. Now she's looking over his license. They're copying down information, and I apologize for the downtime in the video. But ultimately, they let him go. Thank goodness. He does not get arrested in this particular circumstance. And they conduct whatever this investigation is. I'm not even sure. He's on the two-way radio talking to somebody over there about who knows what. And
if we push him hard enough, he'll leave, and that's all they really wanted him to do anyway, was leave.
Well, they may generate a warrant for him one day.
They might.
That happened with Ademo, where they didn't arrest him while he was chalking, but then they issued a warrant for him later.
Certainly could happen.
So Mr. Tubby comes back up. They give him his license back.
Okay.
And here he is.
You going? Still going? You got it? Good? Okay. So I'm going to turn again because I can't see you. This is what's going to happen now. You have to be done with it for right now. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to Judge Blaney. We have a trial going on right now.
Okay.
Judge Blaney is going to interview his jurors. And we're going to go from there. We'll find out, if any jurors had potentially was exposed to what you were handing out.
So they're going to continue the investigation. So yeah, Rich, you might be right. I mean, they've copied down his information, his license, address information, and they're going to possibly file a charge, or maybe not. I'm sure we will find out more if this case develops.
He won't be the first one they've charged, handing out jury nullification information they've charged.
Yeah, Julia Nikimian over and over again.
We are out of time for tonight. Check out Rich Paul over at the Church of the Invisible Hand on Facebook, and our website, brand new, redesigned. It's freetalklive.com.
Is it?
Free Talk Live.
The idea that politicians are leaders. Check your premises on that one.
Cutting proof.
Really? Would you really follow Barack Obama or George Bush? Would you really follow their every command? Would you follow their suggestions? Do you believe that politicians are somehow more knowledgeable than you are? That politicians are of a special group of people? They're a special little critter that for some reason is more enlightened or educated? Constantly you can hear talking heads refer to the authorities or our leaders in Washington, and it's just patently absurd. I mean, these people are failures at life. That's why they became politicians.
Right. There's so many of them are attorneys. The good attorneys make a
money.
Whole bunch of money and retire with yachts. The unsuccessful ones go into politics.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the new Healing Our World is a great gift this Christmas for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government, the real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
The 3 most important things you can do for LRN.FM are: 1. Let your friends know you're listening to LRN.FM on your social networking profile. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.lrn.fm. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program at amp.lrn.fm. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same great prices, and LRN gets a cut. Please do your online shopping at shop.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. In early trading Monday, gold is even at $1,090 per ounce. Silver is down 15 cents at $14.68 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $384 US. This looks like a great time to buy on the dips. If you'd like more information about buying gold or silver, call Robertson Roberts Brokerage today at 800-874-9760 or or visit us online at rrbi.co.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm. The Liberty Radio Network at lrn.fm presents the latest episode of The Voluntary Life. Download it and listen to more at thevoluntarylife.com.
You're listening to The Voluntary Life, where you can hear ideas for finding freedom in an unfree world. Visit thevoluntarylife.com to connect with the show and hear all past episodes. Here's your host, Jake.
Hi, it's Jake here. Welcome to The Voluntary Life. This is an episode about financial independence, and I'd like to share with you some really useful ideas for thinking about money. But before I do, I want to let you know about the new Voluntary Life community on Facebook. I've created a Facebook group for The Voluntary Life so that you can connect with other listeners and talk about things that you're interested in. I just set this up a few days ago and emailed my list about it, and there's already some really great discussions going on there. It's so cool. We've got people from all over the world. I'm just looking at one of the discussion threads about where everyone's from, and there are people contributing comments from the US, Portugal, Mexico, Germany, Ireland, Buenos Aires, England, Florida, Saigon, Vietnam, Uruguay. It goes on and on. There's more. It's really cool to see people from everywhere. And there are other nice discussions going on. I was just asking people about what kind of job-free lifestyle they're most interested in. And there's a lot of discussion about having a lifestyle business and unjobbing. Other people talking about extreme saving. So I'm really pleased to have the opportunity to provide a forum for listeners to connect with each other. And you're very welcome to join the Voluntary Life community on Facebook. It's free. Come along and introduce yourself. You can find the link in the show notes and on the Voluntary Life webpage. And on Facebook, you can just search for the Voluntary Life community. So if you go to the Facebook group and just ask to join, I will add you. And I look forward to seeing you in the Voluntary Life community group. So back to this week's episode. I want to share with you some big picture ideas about money. I've done a lot of episodes on financial independence, on managing your money, on investing, and all these kinds of things. And one of the reasons that I do these episodes is to get clearer in my own mind about what's really important for me about money. What are the most important things that I've learned from other people and the most useful tools that I know for managing money, for getting the best experience of financial life, and for achieving financial independence. I do talk about some very specific things to do with investment and finances and tools for managing money, but I've been trying to think through the higher level ideas that are most useful to me in terms of thinking about how to approach money. And thinking about this, there are three ideas that I want to share with you that are really, that I find really helpful in terms of clarifying for myself, what am I trying to do when it comes to money? And these are not my ideas. These are ideas that have come from other people. These are things that I've tried to clarify in my own mind. But as I've thought through it, I've realized there's a lot of other people who've got exactly the same approach. And that's reassuring, because when you find that a bunch of people converge on the same ideas, then I find that reassuring, because it means I'm not just making stuff up for myself. So here are the most useful ideas that I've found about how to think about your money. The first one is to treat your personal finances as if you were running a business. This is how I got into understanding my personal finances better, was through running a business first and through learning about the importance of financial controlling in my business and then applying the same rigor that I used to apply to my business to my own personal finances. And that's the attitude that underlies a lot of the previous episodes that I've done about how I think about money. For example, I do a monthly financial review and I track my spending and I do have a budget and I track my net worth and all of these things. And basically, I want the same level of transparency and analysis and forward planning and professionalism, basically, about money that I would apply to running a business. There's a finance blogger called Luke Landers who wrote an article about this back in 2006 called How to Be the CFO of Your Own Life. And he described how using a finance app that produced reports made him start thinking about his money in a much more professional way. And he wanted to actually manage his money more consciously because he felt like by acting more professionally about his own finances, he was able to have more control. And that's exactly how I look at it. And this is an idea that's very popular now. And J.D. Roth has just written a book called Be Your Own CFO. And he's got articles too about this approach, which is exactly the same approach that he takes. So I'll put the links to those articles in the show notes. But I just find that a useful concept to pull together a lot of the different things that I find helpful about personal finance. You know, when considering questions like, do I need a budget? Should I track my finances? Do I need to look at all my assets and liabilities and work out my net worth? I mean, these questions, if you ask them in the context of, you know, well, what would you do if you were a CFO and you were responsible for the finances of a company? If you apply that approach, it gives you a framework to think about managing your own money that I find really helpful. That's the way that I do it. And the key habit that sort of embodies this approach is doing a monthly financial review, which I did an episode recently about that. I'll put a link to that in the show notes too. But at the higher level, I just wanted to express that idea to you that I think if you think about your own money as if you were managing the finances of a business, it really helps you. Because what you're doing is giving yourself the benefit of taking responsibility for something in a way that you would do for other people if you were managing their money as a business. You know, why shouldn't you benefit from the same level of diligence and care that you would give to a company if you were managing the money of a company? So there you go, that's the first idea. The second idea I wanted to share with you is a high-level idea about the right attitude to have towards money if you want financial independence. And the way that I think about this now is summarized in the idea of being investment-oriented, not consumption-oriented. If you want financial independence, one of the key things that you need to do is reorient your spending away from consumption and towards long-term investment. And the reason I find this a helpful idea for myself is that it's not that consumption is bad per se. It's a question of opportunity cost. What you consume now, you cannot invest in the future. And investment is what's going to give you the freedom that comes with financial independence. So the more you consume, the less you invest. And this is a sort of idea that I use as a framework for thinking about things like minimalism and frugality and saving. Because ultimately what we're talking about is saving money and investing it wisely. I think it's very easy for discussions about minimalism and simplicity and frugality to treat consumption as if consumption itself is a bad thing, almost like a sinful thing or something that's wrong. But I think the key point is not that consumption is bad, it's that it wastes your potential for investment, and investment is what gives you longer-term freedom. And if you read a book like The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley, which is a great book and really, really helpful, this attitude of investment orientation rather than consumption orientation, it really describes well the attitude of first-generation millionaires in the US that Thomas Stanley surveyed in that book. People who become financially independent don't avoid consuming things because they somehow think consumption is bad. They limit their consumption because they have better things to spend the money on. And those better things are investment. And I find that a helpful framework when considering decisions about spending. The question is, do I really need to buy these things I want to buy for consumption, or can I better use the money to invest to provide freedom in the future? And when you have some rules in place about how much money you need to save and what level of a portfolio you can safely consume, then you can happily buy stuff with the amount of money that works for your financial independence. And I've done some podcasts about the so-called 4% rule and about ways to live from investments. So I'll put some links to those in the show notes too. But this is just a general framework to think about the trade-off between consumption and investment, and how financial independence is just really about reorienting yourself away from consumption, which is the norm, and more towards investment. The last big idea that I want to share with you, just as a kind of organizing idea, is the idea of passive investing. And this is something that I really appreciate. I've done lots of book reviews and podcasts in the past about the concepts behind passive investing. But the simplest way that I can express it is this. People who actively attempt to profit from short-term price fluctuations tend to lose money compared to people who just have a strategy for investment for the longer term and stick to it. The book that has all the evidence about that is called A Random Walk Down Wall Street by Burton McKeel, and I did a book review of that episode, so I'll put a link in the show notes. But the basic concept of passive investing, to have a strategy whereby you don't try and predict short-term market fluctuations, you develop a concept for what it is that you're going to invest in for the longer term, including, whatever level of diversification you think is appropriate for yourself, and then you stick to it. I find that overall concept to be a really useful way of organizing my approach to investment. So that was just a brief overview of 3 big picture ideas that I find it helpful to use to organize my own thinking about money. And within those 3 concepts, there's a huge amount of more detail that you can go into. If you want to take the approach of being your own CFO, then there's a lot of detailed questions about what kind of finance app should you use, and what kind of tracking should you do, and how detailed should your budget be, and so on and so forth. You can get into that level of detail, but the overall approach is what I find most helpful. Similarly, if you're going to move away from consumerism and more towards investment, there's a lot of questions to ask yourself about how minimalist do you want to go? How much do you want to save from your income? How important is it to be frugal to you? But as a concept, I find it helpful to remember that this is what it's about. It's not about just denying yourself for the sake of it. It's about moving from consumerism to investment so that you give yourself more freedom in the future. And the third one was the idea of passive investing, which again, there's a lot of detail to go into about, well, what should you invest in, which securities, and what should your portfolio look like, and what should the balance be, and so forth. But at a big picture level, passive investing is more of a philosophy of how to approach the whole question. It's a framework that says, I'm not going to be able to time the market for short-term fluctuations. I'm not a wizard. And anyone who thinks they are is deluding themselves, because it's clear that, if you do time market fluctuations in the short term, you're just lucky, because speculators on the whole are always doing worse than market averages. But within that philosophy, what is your long-term strategy going to be? There's a whole load of different things that you could invest in, and you still have to work out the details of that strategy. But I find it helpful to have that as a kind of organizing framework. So those are some ideas that I've found helpful. I hope you find them useful too. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And do come along to the Voluntary Life community on Facebook. Join the group, and I will add you, and it will be great to see you there. That's all for this week. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you for listening to The Voluntary Life. If you have feedback about the show, please email jake@thevoluntarylife.com. If you enjoyed this program, please share the podcast with your friends or click the donate button on thevoluntarylife.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Did you know you can get news updates about what's happening with the Liberty Radio Network delivered in the way you prefer? You can sign up for our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. Plus, you can stay in the loop by joining our Facebook profile at facebook.lrn.fm or follow us at Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm. It's all free, so sign up now at updates.lrn.fm for news updates delivered to your email box, facebook.lrn.fm to follow our Facebook page, and twitter.lrn.fm to receive our tweets.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm. The latest edition of the FPP, Freedom Minute, is next on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.fm. Get more at fppradio.com.
There has recently been discussion within the Libertarian Party about what it means to be a libertarian. The main point of debate is whether or not the non-aggression principle is a core tenet of libertarianism. The non-aggression principle, also called the NAP, or principle of non-aggression, has been defined numerous ways over the years. However, a generally accepted definition of the principle is something along the lines of, all people have equal right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, as long as there is no unjust harm done to the person or legitimately owned property of another. Among supporters of the non-aggression principle, there is discussion about what constitutes an act of aggression or unjust harm. However, the wider debate is about whether or not a libertarian must subscribe to the non-aggression principle. To put this another way, is the principle of non-aggression fundamental to libertarianism, and can someone who rejects the principle of non-aggression be a libertarian or a libertarian? Note, a libertarian with a lowercase l is someone who supports libertarian ideals, while the libertarian with an uppercase L is someone who is a member of the Libertarian Party. In The Machinery of Freedom, David Friedman wrote, "The central idea of libertarianism is that people should be permitted to run their own lives as they wish." And David Boaz, in Libertarianism, a Primer, wrote, "In the libertarian view, all human relationships should be voluntary. The only actions that should be forbidden by law are those that involve the initiation of force against those who have not themselves used force or fraud." Both of these definitions of libertarianism are based on the principle of non-aggression, i.e., don't cause unjust harm. Therefore, it should be obvious that the principle of non-aggression is fundamental to libertarianism. Since the principle of non-aggression is fundamental to libertarianism, and libertarians subscribe to the ideology of libertarianism, then it should be obvious that libertarians should also support the principle of non-aggression. What then of libertarians, i.e., members of the Libertarian Party, and the principle of non-aggression? To answer this question, one need only look at the preamble and statement of principles of the Libertarian Party platform. The first statement of the Libertarian Party platform preamble states, "Libertarians seek a world in which all individuals are sovereign over their own lives, and no one is forced to sacrifice his or her value for the benefit of others." The next sentence reads, "We believe that respect for individual rights is the essential precondition for a free and prosperous world, that force and fraud must be banished from human relationships." These two statements are reiterated in the second sentence of the Statement of Principles, which states, "We hold that all individuals have the right to exercise sole dominion over their own lives and have the right to live in whatever manner they choose, so long as they do not forcibly interfere with the equal right of others to live in whatever manner they choose." It is clear that the principle of non-aggression is a core tenet of libertarianism in general, and more specifically the Libertarian Party. Anyone who says otherwise does not really understand libertarianism or the fundamental beliefs of the Libertarian Party. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Antiwar.com reports a bipartisan group of members of the House of Representatives have issued an open letter to Speaker Paul Ryan calling for a vote on an authorization for the use of military force against the Islamic State, citing deepening entanglement in the conflict by President Barack Obama. Under the War Powers Act, the president must seek congressional approval for any overseas military operation within 60 days. The launching of the war against the Islamic State in the summer of 2014 put that vote in the middle of a midterm election, and most congressional leaders on both sides simply chose to ignore the law. Over a year later, the president made only one token effort to get an authorization for the use of military force through, and that died when the White House openly bragged that they made the wording so vague it would allow them to do basically anything they wanted. Without an authorization, the war should have ended. Instead, it has escalated. Though the authors of this letter are in opposition to the war against the Islamic State, some proponents of the war are also seeking an authorization for the use of military force, believing Congress should at the very least sign off on the matter and offer some guidance on the scope of the war. This has been the FPP Freedom Minute, online at fppradio.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Imagine someone in your community getting in their car, turning on the radio, and hearing the Liberty Radio Network. You can make that vision a reality with your own micro radio station. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how you can put our programs on the air in your area. You can have LRN.FM running around the clock, and you can even add in your own local shows. Building a radio station is simple, but programming isn't. That's where LRN.FM comes in. Learn more at broadcast.lrn.fm. That's broadcast.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309. The latest edition of Sovereign Tech is next, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Download it at SOVRYNTech.com.
Hey, I want to tell you about something. It's a website called LibertyMemes.com. It's a site that was established recently by voluntarists for voluntarists, and also for the purpose of helping spread the message of liberty. What's more important than that? Many of the memes at LibertyMemes.com are not only extremely entertaining, but also quite informative and convincing in the cause of promoting liberty and libertarian ideas. I need you to go to LibertyMemes.com. That's LibertyMemes.com, and find a few memes that speak to a part of the message of liberty that you associate with, and share those memes using the easy share bar located at the bottom of the screen. And LibertyMemes.com is a mobile-ready website. That means regardless of what chromed robot turd of a device you're slinging around, you can access it. Of course, I suppose you don't have to visit LibertyMemes.com and share their memes. You don't have to support their sponsors, because at the end of the day, maybe liberty isn't really that important to you. But then, why are you listening to this show? Liberty